Looking at the spell's stats, I grinned to myself at the damage boost to my already overpowered build. Basically, 360 points per hit right off the start. Too bad it didn't give me double damage against frozen targets like Ice Lance. Overall, it wasn't a bad upgrade. Not bad at all. Just as I was finishing up, I heard the same leveling up sound behind me as Yoon upgraded to his next spell level in Frost Magic using his own set of scrolls that he'd purchased earlier at my directions. Seeing the surprised looks from the crowd of players in front of us, I couldn't stop the grin spreading across my lips. Having a second Frost Nova for our group would definitely come in handy. Although the interest in our small group was somewhat unsettling, so far everyone had seemed friendly enough. Several players had returned my head nod as they stepped out of the way to let us pass by as we headed towards the center of the room. We were about 15 feet away from the red crystal when a group of 8 players spread out in front of us, blocking our way. "What in the hell do you noobs think you're doing here?" A rogue-looking player named Snoofu Sevenfire said angrily as the rest of his group spread out to either side of him, chuckling at his words. "These noobs think they can just follow our group through the maze without having to pay for our blood, sweat, and tears." Coming to a stop 10 feet away, I looked over my shoulder at the rest of the team, giving them a "get ready" look before facing the idiots blocking our way. Before I could reply, I heard a woman's voice call out from behind us. "Leave them alone, Snoofu. It's not their fault they came through after your team did." A female player named Kairina Valkyrie yelled out in a shrill voice. "Stop being a bully or you'll never get a healer for your group." "Why do you think I went ahead and brought my people down this time?" Snoofu raged back. "Because idiots like you think you're too good for the rest of us." "Come on, man. We already explained that we have a full team. Seriously, why don't you lay off the newbies for once?" A warrior-looking male elf named Vardrid Valkyrie called out next to Kairina. "You Valkyries are always putting your noses into other people's business where it doesn't belong. Fuck that shit. You guys don't like it, then do something about it. Otherwise, shut the fuck up," Snoofu said, flipping Kairina and Vandrid's group off as he continued ranting. "Freaking noobs always trying to skive their way to the entrance behind players who know what the fuck they're doing. They could have paid to be escorted or even helped out in clearing the mobs, but no, they are too good for that shit. We lost good people because of them, so I'm calling them out on their bullshit. Pay up or we're sending you back to the graveyard, you chump-ass motherfuckers." Looking at the faces around the entrance to the dungeon, I could tell no one wanted to get involved. Most players usually preferred to watch out for their own people. I was actually impressed that the Valkyrie group had even bothered to say anything at all, even if they were now arguing amongst themselves about whether or not they wanted to stop Snoofu's group. I didn't blame them on one level. Once you got on some fucktard's radar, then you always had them messing with you throughout the game. Few players had the hatred for bullies than I did. As the words continued to spew from Snoofu's mouth, a nasty smirk spread across my face. "I'm glad you explained your own rules for escorting newbies to the instance. I guess that means you and your buddies owe us some money then." "Chump," I said, loud enough for everyone in the immediate area to hear. "I don't want the escort money for just you 8, but for the entire 15 of you that tried to get through behind us." For a second, no one said a word as they looked at me in shock. It was one thing to be a noob that was a victim, but another to be one that started talking shit. Even if it was going to be your death, either way, you didn't mouth off to higher-level players in a new area. Turning red, Snoofu promptly stepped forward with his chest pumped out. "Who you calling a chump? Chump?" Instead of answering the punk's question, I simply drew my new cruel bastard sword from behind my back as I nodded at Tanir and Sarka to do the same. Getting an idea of what I wanted, Tanir also pulled out the new elite goblin taskmaster whip he'd acquired with a wry grin. "I'm sure you were somewhat confused when you came to the main cavern and it was clear of mobs. Obviously, y'all thought it was clear all the way to the entrance of the instance, and that, I expect, was the mistake that cost 7 members of your little raid their lives. Seeing the sinking look on Snoofu's face, I continued with an even larger smile.